The Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus and the Xiaomi 14T Pro are both big display phones from the two biggest Android OEMs in the world. They both have 6.7-inch AMOLED displays, triple camera systems, non-Qualcomm flagship chipsets, and around the same battery capacities. They do have a lot of differences to consider, but definitely the biggest one is the price tag. The S24 Plus starts at around $1,000 MSRP, while the 14T Pro starts at under $600. If you're looking for a big Android phone right now with flagship specs, you're probably considering both these options. So let me take you through all the differences and help you decide if the higher price is worth it or if you should save a couple $100. If you do decide to save those couple $100, I would definitely recommend checking out the discounted E7 Pro standing desk by FlexiSpot, the sponsor for this video. This is the super spacious 55 by 28 inch white chipboard version, and it's been amazing for my productivity and daily use. All my desk tech fits here with no issues, and the optional cable management tray is a lifesaver for someone like me that has no idea on how to organize my cables. This is an adjustable standing desk, so you can easily adjust the height using the control panel on the side here, but the killer feature here is I can save your height presets, so you can easily switch between your height presets with just a tap. You don't have to hold onto the button, which makes it really convenient. I have one saved for standing, one for sitting, one for watching movies from my couch, and another one for filming for my YouTube videos. The space and the custom heights makes it really comfortable for me to work for hours on end as a remote worker, and of course whenever I want to stretch my legs out, I can just stand and work this way. Since I can play with more angles and depth by changing the height around, it's also perfect for all the product shots I have to take for my YouTube videos. It's just really sturdy, unlike a lot of other standing desks that are too light or made with flimsy aluminum. The frame here is made of automotive grade steel with really thick legs, so you can put all your stuff on here and even put your weight on it, it'll still be stable. Plus it comes with an insane 15-year warranty, and there's a free 30-day return policy just in case you change your mind. With all those things in mind, I really recommend checking this out if you're a remote worker or a creator like me. And like last time, perfect timing, FlexiSpot's New Year sale just started, so make sure to click the link down below and use my code to get an extra $50 off for the E7 Pro standing desk. The Galaxy S24 Plus and the Xiaomi 14T Pro have almost the same size dimensions, but the very slight difference in width and length actually makes an impact in terms of ergonomics. The S24 Plus is only about 1mm wider, but in the hand it does feel slightly wider than the 14T Pro. The 14T Pro is also about 2mm longer, so the form factor is just slightly narrower. Because of that, the 14T Pro actually does feel a little more comfortable to hold, to type with, and to use one-handed. That said, the S24 Plus is about 13 grams lighter, and you can definitely feel that too. Not only is it lighter, the S24 Plus also feels a lot more premium. Both phones are built with glass panels on the front and back and an aluminum frame, but the finish on the back of the 14T Pro feels really scratchy and plasticky. Also, the S24 Plus might not have the fanciest design, but the simple, modern aesthetic just looks nicer to look at compared to the 14T Pro. On top of that, since the S24 series is just more popular than the 14T series, you'll have a much easier time finding third-party accessories for the Samsung phone over the Xiaomi one, so keep that in mind if you care about that. So the hardware is very debatable. The 14T Pro, better ergonomics and comfort. S24 Plus, better build quality and aesthetics. What's less of a debate is the display quality. Both phones have about the same size AMOLED displays, relatively similar resolution, and really similar screen to body and aspect ratios. But other than for HDR content, the S24 Plus has a much brighter display for sunny outdoor usage, and I found the auto brightness to be much faster and more responsive than on the 14T Pro. It also feels like the 14T Pro is using a lesser quality AMOLED panel here, as you can see some spotting and uneven black spots at low brightness levels. It's not a big deal at all, but I've never seen this with a Samsung phone. Also, the S24 Plus has an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor over the 14T Pro's optical sensor. The ultrasonic sensor is just so much faster and more responsive, and it doesn't have to blind you in the night like an optical one. As a more expensive device, the S24 Plus simply has a better display here. But I do have to say that the out-of-the-box default color and contrast tuning seems slightly more appealing on the 14T Pro. There are higher contrast levels with colors popping out more, so I do give it a win there. Another slight edge is the higher refresh rate and faster touch response on the 14T Pro. I do feel like the 14T Pro is generally more responsive thanks in part to the display. Another win for the 14T Pro is the speakers. Both have stereo speakers, but the Xiaomi produces much more bass, better reverb, and more depth in its audio output. There's more distortion than the slightly cleaner sounding S24 Plus, but I think it's worth the trade-off. The S24 Plus just sounds flat, like it's holding back. Since it does produce a bit cleaner audio, I would say it's better for podcasts and audiobook listening, but the 14T Pro is much better for music and entertainment. Moving on to the cameras, for a cheaper phone, the 14T Pro actually has the better camera hardware here for both the main and the telephoto lenses. It's got larger sensors than the S24 Plus to capture more light, and the shutter speed also seems to be noticeably faster as well. But the one upside the S24 Plus has is OIS for the telephoto lens, which the 14T Pro is missing for its telephoto. And this actually plays a big part in this comparison. Both phones do produce excellent photos in daylight with very pleasing post-processing styles without much over-sharpening. In general, Samsung goes for more of a neutral tone with softer details, while Xiaomi has much higher contrast and more vibrant color reproduction. When the lighting and the stabilization hits right, the 14T Pro produces cleaner photos that look like they're coming from a mirrorless camera, and they do look really nice. This is thanks to not just the Leica tuned filters, but also thanks to the larger sensors giving the photos much more depth of field than the Samsung. The stabilization is where Xiaomi does seem to struggle, especially in tougher lighting conditions. The S24 Plus simply has better stabilization in almost all situations with better HDR and more reliable post-processing. And even though the shutter is seemingly slower than the Xiaomi, it's actually doing a better job processing these shaky quick shots, especially in low light. For video recording, the results are actually flipped. The Xiaomi has way less contrast with very neutral colors. The video stabilization is about the same on both phones with pretty bad stabilization for the telephoto lenses, but overall I mostly prefer the video recording on the S24 Plus. As a phone photography enthusiast, the 14T Pro is much more fun to use and play with all the different filters, and the moody, dramatic photos you get are much more interesting. But the S24 Plus does seem like the more reliable shooter for everyday use thanks to the better stabilization and more robust post-processing. The Samsung's camera system seems to be like a reliable multi-tool, while the Xiaomi is more like a less reliable yet real camera. That comparison also translates over to the software comparison between Samsung's One UI and Xiaomi's HyperOS. HyperOS is Xiaomi's refreshed software experience with ultra smooth animations and transitions, beautiful lock screen customizations, and fast touch responsiveness. In terms of aesthetics and general day-to-day responsiveness, HyperOS just looks and feels so much better than One UI. But outside of that, One UI is just a much more mature software experience. One UI has all the practical features you need, including robust, customizable automations, all kinds of convenient multitasking options, being able to customize almost every part of the UI, and there are not as nearly as many weird bugs as there are on HyperOS. Plus, you also get timely monthly security updates on One UI versus the pretty random schedule on the 14T Pro. Xiaomi is promising 4 OS upgrades and 5 years of security updates for the 14T Pro, but Samsung is promising a crazy 7 years of OS and security updates. I'm sure HyperOS will get better with HyperOS 2.0, 3.0, and on, but as of right now, One UI is just more experienced and it shows with the attention to detail. Is it a $400 difference? I'm not sure about that since I do still enjoy using HyperOS, but it is a noticeable difference. For performance, it's all about Samsung Exynos versus MediaTek Dimensity. The 14T Pro's 9300 Plus chipset isn't the latest flagship of the Dimensity lineup, but it does outperform the Exynos 2400 in benchmarks and also in real-world performance. For day-to-day speeds and general experience, most of you really won't notice any differences between the two phones. But if you do dig deeper and go into anything demanding like high-fidelity gaming, there is a difference that you can notice. The 14T Pro has smoother gameplay, better rendering with less frame drops and stutters. It also heats up a lot less than the S24 Plus. The Samsung gets noticeably warm or sometimes hot, while the Xiaomi doesn't get nearly as warm and stays cool most of the time. The 14T Pro and its MediaTek chipset just seems to have more consistent, stable performance compared to the S24 Plus and its Exynos processor. Even though the 14T Pro does have a more stable chipset, it doesn't necessarily translate to battery life results. Both phones have a really similar battery capacity, and the results are actually really similar at around 4.5 to 5.5 hours of screen on time with 16 hours of total usage per day. For my own usage patterns, this is pretty decent and I do consider it a full day's worth of battery life. The real difference is the charging speed, where the Xiaomi dominates. It maxes out at 120 watts while the Samsung can only get up to 45 watts. 45 watts isn't too bad, which actually gets me a full charge in just less than an hour, but the Xiaomi's 120 watts is so much better, getting me a full charge in less than 25 minutes, which changes how I think or worry about battery life. So thanks to the difference in charging, the 14T Pro takes the cake in the battery department. Okay, so putting everything together, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus and the Xiaomi 14T Pro are both really interesting big screen options in very different price categories, and they're each great at different things. The S24 Plus has more premium hardware with a better display, a more consistent camera system, and a dependable software experience. The 14T Pro has better speakers, a much more interesting enthusiast camera experience, better performance, and much faster charging speeds. With so many wins for the 14T Pro, it is hard to justify the much higher price tag on the S24 Plus, so in general I would recommend the Xiaomi here. But if these individual categories like the display or software experience are the most important aspects of a phone to you, the higher price would be worth it and the S24 Plus wouldn't be a bad buy. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this comparison and if you agree or disagree with my thoughts here. If you like this video, please show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.